Hey bro, in 2021 probably, I started reading The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And I wasn't able to read this book. Like I was reading this book for 2 years. 2 years. And I wasn't able to finish it. Like I would read one page a week sometimes. And not because this book was uninteresting. This book was very interesting, especially during the middle and the end. In the beginning, I really found it pretty uninteresting. So, the reason why most people are like that. A lot of people just cannot read because they think it's boring and interesting. They not just think, they feel like it is. But in reality, it is very interesting. Now I find all the books I read are just, it is so interesting. Like right now, I'm reading War and Peace by Tolstoy. And this book is very interesting. I read it every single day. I don't even have to force myself to read it because it's very interesting for me. Because I want to know what will happen next. So the reason why books are uninteresting for a lot of people is because they don't have a skill of reading. Reading is a skill. Well, obviously they do have some skill because, well, they can read. Pretty much all people in America can read. But they cannot read in the sense of actually reading, actually sitting on the chair, open up the book and just reading. A lot of people cannot do that because they never did that. They never practiced reading. They never practiced without somebody forcing themselves. They never took a book and read it. And this is actually what we need to fix, because when the nation as a whole likes to read, this nation is much better. Just people are much smarter, and this affects everyone. This affects everyone because if more people read, it means there are more scientists, there are more rich people, there are more people who are making some products, businesses. This affects just every single one of us. And so, how do we read? How do you make a habit of reading? How do you open up a book and read it without forcing yourself? So let's start with focus. Focus is very important when you're trying to read because you need to focus on what you're reading, or it will end up like you read a sentence and you immediately forgot it. And you need to... Oh hell, my kitten is falling. No, well, he's fine. So, you read the sentence and you immediately forget it, and you need to reread it, and then it happens again, and you need to reread it again. It really happened with me. I read a page, I immediately forgot what it is about because I was thinking about other stuff. The only way I know to change it, actually there are two ways, but they're pretty much the same. They affect the same part of the brain that is responsible for it. So this way is you need to develop your prefrontal cortex. It's a part of your brain that is responsible for focusing. And the way you can do this is, there are two ways. You can meditate. Meditation is a very good practice, not just for focus, but for everything in life. So seriously, I recommend you to start meditating. Not just for reading, but again, for everything in life. I actually have a full guide on meditation. And if you're interested, you can go and watch that. I will not explain it here because it's a pretty long topic. So, start meditating. And second way, just read more. It will come with practice. First time you read the book, it will happen to you a lot. That you read a page and you forget it. But the second time you read another book, you read the second book and it happens with you much less. Because you actually practiced. You developed this skill of reading. And so this was about focus. Focus is very important again. But focus is not the only thing. There's another thing that is actually about enjoying reading. About wanting to read. And a lot of people find reading boring. But it's not because reading is actually boring. It's because there is a thing in our brains that's called dopamine. I explain dopamine pretty much in my every video, so you can pretty much open my every any video on my channel, and I'll explain dopamine there. So I'll explain it again here. And dopamine is like the molecule that is responsible for motivation, mood, desire to do stuff, and all these things. The reason why reading feels boring is because before reading and after reading, you are doing much funnier stuff, like scrolling on your phone. Scrolling on your phone is, for your brain, it's considered more fun because it gives you more information, which means more dopamine, because information equals good. When it, tens and thousands of years ago, information equals good. Right now, not all information equals good. Right now, you want information from books. But information from books feels boring because these apps on your phone are specifically designed to trigger this response from your brain. So that's why books feel boring. Or you can play video games. Video games are actually also stimulating your dopamine. So they feel much more fun than just reading books. So if you want me to be honest with you, you need to quit all these activities. Just forever. Quit playing video games, quit social media, and all this bullshit stuff. But I understand that not a lot of people will actually do this in order to read. Because for various reasons. So what I recommend doing is read first thing in the morning. Just wake up and you read. If you cannot do this because of school, then read immediately after school. And try not to fry your dopamine receptors in school. So like, don't bring your phone to the classes or whatever. This way you will, like, school is boring for most people. And so if you read right after school, your brain will think, okay, well, school was boring and this is more interesting than school. So your brain will actually start to enjoy reading. Another way you can make reading pleasant is by making reading more pleasant. Well, duh. So how to do this? You can actually set some music. Like, turn on the music. Not just not the music with lyrics. Some classical music or lo-fi, Just, it helps for a lot of people, it helps to focus more. So that's also a benefit. But it will make reading much more pleasant. Like, make a cup of coffee or a tea. And just read. Sit and read. Listen with music and listen to music, And drinking coffee or tea, it will help you to make the experience of reading more pleasant for you. But there are actually some cons to this method. First of all, it will make reading without all this stuff more boring. So you need to consider that. If you at least a little bit enjoy reading now, do not do this, because it will make reading for you much more boring, without all this stuff. So, but if you cannot read at all, if you find it very extremely boring, then of course do this, because it's better to read than not to read. So these are the two things that helped me to start reading. And I hope it will help you. If it did, write in the comments what you did and how you did this. It will help other people who are watching this video. And subscribe for more advice like that. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one.